outside the box. My name is Kirill. I am a competence manager at Business Analyst office at SoftServe. And today we're going to have a very special session. We're going to have a panel discussion on the topic, is there a life after business analysis? So the idea behind this session here comes from the following. So usually there comes a time when we are doing something long enough and we start to question ourselves, like, what's next? Is there something I will be doing like till the end of my career, or is there anything else that I can transform myself into? Can I switch my career direction? And that type of questions. I think those questions are relevant to all of us. And we thought this question is quite interesting and might be a concern to acting business analysts, as well as people interested in business analysis career. So I have invited a group of very cool and interesting professionals, colleagues of mine from SoftServe, to talk about the subject. So except of all of us being subservients, these guys have one more thing in common. All of them worked as business analysts at some point at SoftServe and then transformed their careers into different directions. So I think it will be super interesting to talk to them about the subject. But before we start, let me remind you of some ground rules that we want you to follow during the session. So please stay muted during the session. Put your questions into the Zoom chat or raise a hand in Zoom if you want to voice your question. So we have taken some questions prior to the session from the forum, from the audience, and we have some questions already prepared, but we will also take a look in the chat and also we'll comment on whatever you put in the chat, or maybe the questions that you put there. So please be active and enjoy the session. Now, before I will proceed with introducing our panelists today, we would like to run a poll just to understand who is in the audience today. So our assumption is that most of you or all of you are business analysts, but maybe we're wrong. So you can see the poll right now. Please vote for a choice that corresponds to you. And I will proceed with introducing our panelists. So, oops, let me get rid of this poll. So our first panelist is Anastasia Nikulska, who started as a business analyst at SoftServe and now evolved her career into product management. Now she is a product management practice lead, and she's working on the complex products and services from the very inception to a successful launch. Hi, Nastya. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone. Glad to see such a huge audience here on the call.
Great. All right. So let's proceed with our next panelist. And our next panelist is Mitro Zubats, who you may have already heard on our conference with a very interesting speech that they were doing together with Alexei Babachenko. So Mitro also worked as business analyst at SoftServe. He also worked as a competence manager in business analysis office. And now he is enterprise solution principal, principal practice lead for business analysts with a team of more than 40 business analysts. So he has a lot of experience in diverse roles, and he's also was awarded as best Ukrainian business analyst in 2019 by Ukraine IT Association. Hi, Mitro. How's it going?
Hi. Thank you, Kirill, and thanks for having me here today with such a cool company.
Always a pleasure. So let's proceed to our next panelist, Rustam Magomedov. Rustam also started as business analyst, and I had the pleasure of working with him together on the same project, one of my first projects on SoftServe. I think it was the very first one. Rustam was leading BA there, and I do appreciate his help and guidance while starting my own career. Then Rustam proceeded into sort of switching his role into management direction. So he was a lead analyst, lead project manager, program manager, pre-sale lead, and now he's associate director at Enterprise Healthcare and Life Sciences. Hi, Rustam.
Hey, Kirill. Hi, guys. Nice to see you all, and thanks for having me here. I hope we will have a great time talking.
Sure, same here. And the last but not least, Andrei Berezyuk also started as a business analyst at SoftServe, then switched to product management. And now he is a senior client partner taking care of one of the largest consulting companies in the world. Wow. Hi, Andrei. How are you?
Hi, Kirill. Hi, guys. I'm fabulous. Happy to share my knowledge, experience, and answer your questions today.
Cool. That's great. So we have our team here. Now let's maybe end the poll and see what the results are. Yeah, of course, our assumption was correct. So 90% of the audience are currently business analysts. So that's very good to know. 4% thinking of becoming business analysts, which is also, I think this session will be really useful for you because you may know that what this career may lead you in. And we have also, once I was a business analyst, one person, and people just came to listen to us. It's just something other. Great. All right. So as I said, we have already collected some questions prior to the session, but please don't hesitate to put your questions in chat. We will keep an eye on the chat and try to answer those questions as well. So you will see the questions here on the slide, and we will just try to talk about the subject and share our experience about it. So let's start our, oh yeah, I forgot about myself. I can't introduce myself in the beginning. So I will be doing moderation here. I biocompetence manager, lead business analyst, also had my fair share of business analysis, and currently also evolved into sort of mentorship, trainer, workshop kind of guy, and also host a business analysis podcast as a user I want to see. It's primarily in Russian and Ukrainian, but you know, if you don't speak any of those languages, it may not be interesting to you. But if you do, then please check it out. All right, forgot to introduce myself. That always happens. All right, so let's proceed with our first question. So it's kind of a general one, but something which we can start off from. So what made you change your career path, guys? Who wants to start? Who wants to talk about that? Andrei, you want to start?
Sure. So in my case, I was working as business analyst in healthcare domain only for probably 5 years at the time. And I was really interested in product ownership or product management role. And I always wanted to build a product that many people benefit from. And that was just my nagging, you know, this idea that was over me for probably about 2 years at the time. And this is something that I started looking for. And thank God we had an opportunity within SoftServe to work for one of our American clients who were a client of SoftServe's, but they were opening up a new direction, and they were actually looking for a technical product manager. That this is what this role was called back then. And I applied for that. I went to see the client. I passed through the interviews, and then I was there. So that, to answer this question in short, I was always interested. Is just a different direction. And this is something that also piqued my interest while I was business analyst and was working in business analyst, talking with product owners, eliciting requirements, and then finding solutions to our business problems or needs or challenges. And I was always interested in what it is like from this, you know, from the other angle to be on product ownership kind of side. So that was my case.
I had my thoughts on that when Andrew started to tell his story. So I remember the story, how did I become the business analyst? I was working with development teams and started at some point asking too many questions. And they said, there are the group of business analysts, you better join them. Looks like you're kind of a person like that. And afterwards, when I already succeeded in a business analyst role for quite some time, I started asking even more questions, so it never stops the process. And I was thinking, well, we are not only eliciting requirements here, all of you guys, I believe you are not only eliciting requirements. I believe we are building products, services, hard technology solutions. And how do we monetize this part of thinking? How do we know the client's business? So I started asking just different level of questions, so that I moved further to the product management, to the practice leadership, to the services, the centers of excellence. From the name of a SoftServe can propose to our clients where we monetize this level of thinking, consulting, and added services, which extends our value. So it's not changing the past, probably rather a transformation, bringing even more. So this is where am I right now.
Got it. And how many years were you in business analysis before you?
It was 8+. It was 8+, and then few years as a product management.
Okay, got it. All right. So who wants to speak next? Mitro?
Maybe I can continue here, because actually I work closely with Nastya. Actually, we were first BAs in Center of Excellence, and at the moment we have different titles and different direction. Nastya is mostly concentrated on products, and my role is more related to enterprise consulting, to enterprise solutioning actually. And why? Because for me it's logical growth and taking ownership and leadership. Because as a BA, you play role of single contributor in different engagements and projects with your customers. And here in this role, actually, I have possibility. Sometimes I don't have this possibility, because there are a lot of politics also and different influences, external and internal. But the goal of actually and the aim of this position, because I was one of the guys who actually created this position here at SoftServe. We had a group of people from different COEs actually, and we came to the decision that finally we should have some solution lead. And if we are going into enterprise, so it should be someone who knows enterprise, someone who used to work with enterprise. Because in my previous life, when I was not in outsource business, I actually played this role of product owner and product manager, for enterprise solutions. Actually, I implemented ERPs, CRMs, and so on. And so it's logical was for me, but still, when even in this position, you do a lot of BA activities. It's mostly strategy analysis, eliciting, and all this stuff. Maybe I create less requirements, actually. Maybe it's less of specifications at the moment, but still there are a lot of intersection. Because for me, BA, it's not position, it's more like competency model. And as Babok says, everyone who actually does such kind of activities still BA. So my vision.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something when your position come to the end, just create a new one, and you can proceed with your what's the word for that? Evolution, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Rustam, what do you have to say about that?
Sure. So I think what made to change my career path was that I hate undone things, and the analyst on the other side is someone who spends a lot of time thinking, designing, drawing, just managing the ideas, putting that on the paper or Confluence or whatever, Jira's, user stories, and there is no guarantees that this will be done ever. And this bugged me a lot. And when I had some intersections with project manager's role, who actually limited my job, who actually told me, don't do this, this is like gold plating, this is that, this is this. So I I've been in some box that haven't allowed me to.
Did we lose Rustam?
He escaped.
Some project manager decided to to take his revenge.
Switch.
Hey, Rustam, we lost you for like 15 seconds. Are you with us now?
Sorry. No, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a trigger when I thought that if I replaced my project manager, I will be in charge then. I like so.
Okay, so I remember at one point you were like doing both business analyst and project manager role. So how was it working out for you?
Honestly, that was not difficult. So that was a small team, and we made it absolute agile. So the self-organized, self-sufficient team did everything, and I felt that I can do the analysis on bigger side, and when working effectively with engineer team, we can benefit from all of the roles. And the last part was my worst part was the staffing, I guess, in project management. Yeah, but that took me some time to get it running. But obviously, project managers and BAs having intersection, and that was the easy part to do.
Okay, I see. So I think our next question, or one of our next questions, is about challenges. So this is something maybe that relates to that. So let's proceed to the next one. And guys in the audience, I encourage you to put your questions in the Zoom chat, so we could also maybe you can put some situations there, or like questions that bother you, or maybe questions to some of the panelists about their experience. It would be interesting to you. You have very good opportunity to do that. Right. So here it is. The second question that we had prior to the session is, what were the biggest challenge during the transformation into your current role? So maybe if you think back, like in the past, you know, something which was really challenging to you on that transition. Let's hear your thoughts on that.
Maybe I can start, because for me it was really like strange challenge, because I had to create this competency model. Actually, I created this position, and I proved, like after that I had to prove actually that I covered all these activities as a BA, or in previous like activities when I worked inside enterprises. So for me it was one of the biggest challenges. And second, maybe because as a BA, you are more like business focused and functional focused, solution focused. But when you are enterprise solution principal, you need to also understand architecture. You need to understand technologies. You must understand all these trends and differences, like between cloud solutions and on-prem solutions, differences of different architecture patterns. All this, like when you lead pre-sale, for instance, you need to understand what is expected, not only from BA role, or what is expected from architect, what is expected from like data science experts, what is expected from user experience person, and so on. And you create this team. So you need to create approach, and you need to gather actually all this like cross-functional representatives from different COEs and delivery units actually. And you need to understand all this stuff. You need to understand what is expected during design phase. When we do discovery design phase, you need also to understand that, for instance, like user experience guys, they will do some design thinking activities, and BAs will do actually requirement solicitation and specification. They will do also some workshops with the customer, brainstorming, or like process modeling and so on. And you need to understand that based on functional requirements, architects, they will do their analysis of non-functional requirements actually using these inputs. They will actually brainstorm, and they will investigate different solution options from technical point of view. So you need to understand all this stuff actually to be successful in this role. So you need to work closely with guys. I actually had a lot of like interviews with our top architects, actually, what guys you do, what you expect, and actually what are your frameworks here, how you proceed actually with architecture activity. And the same with user experience people and so on. So this is what from me.
Were there any challenges? Like, you know, sometimes we have some conflicts between like architect and BA, like architect.
Yeah, we usually have this conflicts, you know, when that's why we actually created the role of lead, because I believe we also faced with a situation when we spent like 3 days from 5 days of design thinking. As an outcome, we just received like some high-level user expectations, and after that we did not have time actually for quality attributes workshop, for functional requirements, solicitation session, and so on. So this lead should understand what is expected from these particular activities and be fully committed, like for your customer and for internal team, for delivery team, you are committing on this result. So you need, that's why we actually created this position of lead, because this person should decide, are we going with some design thinking activities, or we are going with the pure like technical assessment of existing solution, depending on the situation and the context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds really challenging. And just one more question from my side. I was like interested from what you said about the first part of the challenge, creating the competency. So were there any like jobs maybe that you were saying like, okay, I'm not there right now. Sure. I'm not doing that, but I will have to learn. Yeah,
this actually technical part, as I mentioned, it's actually leading implementation from technical point of view, and this is not where I am the strongest person, I would say. So you need to lead. You need to understand what are the activities, why we go with this stack, why we decided to create it from scratch, not like using any platform. And here, for sure, you need to have like some assistance from architect, because these guys are really experienced with like technical solutioning. But you need to understand it on the common sense. Like we go with a solution from scratch because it's too expensive, like, or it's not feasible from technical point of view to implement like it using some existing platform or sub product.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Thank you. So who wants to proceed?
I was thinking how Dima tell the story about this introducing the new competency at all. Looks like for me, I've joined the already established competency, product management, but you know the ratio at SoftServe and in average like outsourcing company, business analysts to product managers is quite challenging. So it's like 1 to 10. Let's be honest. So for me, it was jump into the unknown and learning from scratch, how do we promote that position, how we together with competency office and COE form this as a service. So we already had like several legends of product management by that moment. Andrew was one of those. He was our role model for some time, just for you to know. But how do we form the service out of that, the offering to the client, not just being like the person who's thinking in one specific account? How do you think from the name of a company about that? That was a challenge because we are now still in the process. We are already like increased the ratio of product managers and more people are joining us. Still, to introduce this service, being in parallel the outsourcing company, someone told us, you're like crazy guys. Someone told us, let's try. So we went with the let's try option, as you might notice. And I'd say this is quite interesting world, and the knowledge from the business analysis and how the clients treat that specialists helped us a lot. We are building forward since that point. So it goes together, I think, and we have a lot in common and we have a lot to learn one from another. Something like that.
So if we go into that direction, like what's the most common like pushback from the client when you're trying to, you know, to offer the service of product management? Like what
the ownership obviously. So the role itself, product manager, presuppose and has the high expectations on the influence on budget, influence on some major decisions. And at this point, being an outsourcing company, you kind of like challenging the specialists on the client side. So the challenge itself is to learn how do you together with them bring this new mindset. And sometimes now we are already start thinking about like enterprise product management as subdivision of that, because it makes sense, it exists. We just need to frame that properly and position these people properly and help our client not to be distracted or challenged by those people, but rather to collaborate. We are from different worlds and we can help each other building the products.
I would add on top also that it's really important for such kind of services or positions, like it is expected that this person will work like inside this enterprise. I believe Andrei can support me because he actually used to work as a product manager on site, and he was actually a part of this enterprise. And it's hard to sell, like please take some like product manager or enterprise product manager or solution lead, like he will sit in Ukraine, and how actually you see this cooperation when you have like product manager in Ukraine and all these functions, like all these leads for whom you implement this product, they are like in different zone and in different actually country, and it's everything about communication, collaboration, and so on. And if you have like 2 hours of intersections, it's actually hard. And that's why it's a problem to sell such kind of like high value services here also. And perception, yeah, because no one outsources such kind of positions. They used to outsource technical people actually for doing some job when they can do it separately without like close collaboration with internal stakeholders inside this organization. It's like my vision, how I see it.
Yeah, it's like breaking the mindset of those people, basically, right?
And the idea behind is not to attack their mindset, but to build a community of people on that specific account, project, product, whatever, where you think together and you bring new perspective, not the challenge to their perspective. This helped us a lot, this like adopted mindset, and this helped us a lot when communicating the role.
Yeah, sounds amazing. It's like very huge challenge from my perspective, and you did a great job of overcoming it at some point. All right, Andrei, you want to maybe to
yeah, I
continue?
can. I will be quick because this is my facepalm kind of situation. So the biggest challenge for me switching over to client partnership was I couldn't fit. For the first 6 months, I couldn't understand how different my role of client partner was from CSL, from client success leader. I couldn't fit within the client organization because it was a new client to me, and the whole so everything boils down to me only stumbling across my own insecurities, because to be honest, I'm a control freak, and I was really demanding to myself at the very beginning, at the very the start of my new career. And that had a really detrimental effect on everything I did. So if something went not as I expected, if client just, was using an appropriate language, or something was not as I expected, I was counting that this is something that I could have been better at, or I could have prevented it somehow. And this is not the case all the time. So now if I look back, and the biggest gift I could give myself is to relax and take one step at a time. But I was really, really demanding, and that was the biggest challenge, because I was actually suffocating myself. No tak, jasne. So that was the biggest challenge for me, is to not be an enemy to myself, but actually to relax, listen, and take one day at a time. Maybe too philosophical, but that was, I was actually really struggling with fitting into that client and into client partnership role.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Maybe you can just in a nutshell explain what the client partner role is, maybe for people who
Right. So we'll need another session in our session to guide you onto a client partnership role. But in a nutshell is actually helping. So you're between two parts, SoftServe, who actually serves the client, and client who actually wants SoftServe to do the job and to advise on digital solutions and other services like from our portfolio, right? And you are a mediator between those two parties because you have to make clients successful, whatever that means to, because everyone puts their own piece of, into success. And you also have to withstand and to implement SoftServe's ideas, goals towards that customer. So you have to grow the business. And this is up to you where you find this growth into selling more services, into educating the clients in order for them to understand our company better and to see that we not only do digital services as software development in a classic way, but we also have COEs and we also have wide variety of competencies that our customers can benefit from. So this is something that this role is very comprehensive, but you are a dispute mitigator. So you jump in when something is not working, when there is an escalation or client is not happy. It's your job to mitigate that and to tackle that dispute if you have such.
All right, got it. Thank you. Let's ask Rustam. Rustam, what were your biggest challenges? You mentioned staffing.
Oh yeah, so staff, that was my first step in management, but maybe the worst thing was to think that you are a misfit for the role. Maybe that made me uncomfortable that I don't know everything that my colleague knows. So maybe that was the biggest challenge. Once I just using Andrei's suggestion, step-by-step learning. And when you get more experience with the role, that makes you more comfortable and you just advance very quickly because you understand that you know much more than everyone can show at that particular role. That was my biggest, maybe still challenge because I'm moving too fast. So from the project to program to directors, and every time that feeling keeps bugging me that I'm misfit. I can't do that, and I have to just break myself at something and move forward. So that may be the best challenge. But in particular, yes. So for analysts, it's unusual to work with the people, hire people, work with budgets, forecasting things, thinking more about business. Everything like that is absolute challenge for business analyst. And the more you will be trying those things and having hands-on experience, the more comfortable you will be when transiting between those roles.
Білочка їсть.
Got someone from the audience commenting. From the woods, I believe. All right, Rustam. So something that you mentioned, I think it's called like imposter syndrome or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I think
yeah.
Most of us can relate to that, definitely.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the great advice. And we had a quick question from the Zoom chat from Mariana. Did you build some expectation from your managers when you started thinking about changing the position? And did you have any like pushbacks from their side? Were there any like opposition or something?
It depended on the personality and the role. So the more senior person or more older person, the more pushback you will get. So that's not the case for everyone, I guess, but that's my first feeling when I get like first 5 PMs and 3 BAs. But the turn point in that managing side was that I put together the same team and started from the scratch. So we have that intersection, and we need to have our responsibilities in that intersections. Once we get our roles divided, I guess that was the crucial point when everyone understands what needs to be done. So yeah, you just start from the beginning if you see that people are just on the staying on the same place. So to make them move forward, that's the job for the manager.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see Mitro have already responded in the chat that he had only support from his managers. So Nastya, Andrei, anything you can share in this respect?
I just responded in chat as well. So it always, of course, depends on context. But think about that as not like just me wanting a new role without any like expectation on that. The smart manager and smart account management would always listen attentively if you are going to bring you value. You're gonna speak differently, you're gonna pay attention to a wider range of things than you are doing now. And they can also monetize that from the account or project perspective. So think about this, the language of value rather the language of your ambitious. Ambitious is still good, don't exclude that, but think about that as like, how do I integrate this new offering of me, new role into this success of common challenge or common project, whatever. This helps.
Yeah, or
well,
if
honestly,
you...
go ahead. Okay, so yeah, just to finish it up, I thought you are talking about my managers, not my managers. Sorry for being like, yeah. So yeah, absolutely. My manager was the best person who drives the whole thing. So he gave me the tasks and I said, yes, I was the yes man. And that's why well went. But I heard your managers and I thought about my managers and BAs. So that was...
Yeah, I will. Yeah, when we talk to you, I will try to word it properly.
Yeah, that works both ways. So yeah, you have to have that expectation set on the both sides. Yeah, sorry, Andrei.
Yeah, I just want to say that you have to build expectations from my experience and from my point of view with your managers if you want to change the career. But in support with what Anastasia just said, that you think about that, how you can help or aid when you change over to a new role. And if you want to change your role, think of a solution. So let's say your manager, and if you're experiencing a pushback from the manager, it's okay, because this is something that you're entering his or her pain zone. Because if you're out, then it's his or her responsibility to find a fit. And if you're working well, and if you're a valuable person in the team, then it's damn difficult to find substitution, right? And this is something that you can also take as your advantage. You can agree, it was my case, to train a person who will be replacing me in like 3 months. Because and so this is not a surprise to your manager or your team that you are out in a week or next day, right? Because you're pissed and you want to change everything in your life. So if you approach that gradually, and if you prepare your manager and you work with your manager in collaboration, then I believe there is no pushbacks, or those pushbacks will be really mitigated. But if there is a still persisting strong pushback, then maybe it's a really good sign for you that you are not in that, that team is not for you, and that manager is not something that you can or want to work with. If there is like really or negative approach when you just waste it out, that you want to, or you're considering changing your career. This is my opinion.
Great point. Okay, so let's move on. We have more questions on those slides. So the next one is, what BA skills and experience helped you in your current position, or helps you currently? So what can you think of from your BA skill set that works best?
Communication skills. Communication skill is the number one. And communication skills is not something just like pep talking, is presentations. This is like clear written communication. This is ability to shape complex idea into simple solution or call to action, or what you want from the person you're speaking or addressing your communication to. And yeah, and communication skills is something that you can obtain, or it can come from any kind of career background, not just business analysts.
True.
But speaking of business analysts, the probably communication is the first, and the second one, in my opinion, is problem solving skills. And there is no project without a problem. In fact, the entire project is a solution to some problem, right? So if you're a business analyst and you great facilitator and you great at understanding the problem, then the problem solving skills, this is something that you have, and this is something that is essential in my current role and in role of product manager as my previous role.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
I was
guys.
thinking about, like, since I started being a business analyst, it was always like internal critic sitting inside my head and thinking, well, this is the higher level, this is a lower level. And what I did is, like, I learned to balance the deep dive into the details and seeing the bigger picture. And that skill helped me a lot, because anyone in any team would strive the next second after we say yes for the solution, jump into details. They dive into the details and you're like pulling them out of there. And the person who is able to see this bigger picture, to combine that, to present that, and to communicate that, would be the person who's holding the context. And this is what I learned most being a business analyst. And this helps me right now. I'm like communicating, like in any unknown situation, I'm starting to draw a big picture. This helped me everywhere. And everyone now knows that if Nastya started to draw some diagram, let her do that. Do not interrupt. So that is a like super skill I've learned.
So are you carrying the marker around with you all the time? Just to
I'm
start
sometimes
drawing?
drawing in a telephone, like
Really?
or in app.
Wow.
I use
would love
whatever possibility to draw, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Yeah, that's a great skill. I totally agree with you. So, Rustam, Dima, anything to add?
Sure. Yeah, I will be too obvious. So that's gonna be analytical skills, and yeah, and the skill just to make something big and divide it on something small, then understand how it works, put it back, and make it work. That was the skill that helped me to understand how everything works, because you're not just in requirement space now, but you are on delivery space, and you must see everything. And it takes some time to understand everything, understand how it just interacts between the parts, understand the dependencies, everything like that. Understand that there is a like as is stage to B stage, and here's the in between what we are all doing. Yeah, this is the real thing that everyone's doing, but not understanding that this is actual analytical skill.
Doing anything specific, like maybe drawing some diagrams here?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's still there. So I'm still in pre-sales, and this is a lot of fun, just starting from drawing ideas and making into the project. So still doing diagrams, but on the business level now. So
right, yeah.
I would just say that it's strategy analysis. Everything that we do in strategy analysis area, it's still there.
Can you elaborate for the audience, like what is there?
You still work with business, you still work with business needs, you need to define these goals, objectives, you need to analyze this to be change strategy, risk analysis, all the stuff it's still there. So it's a crucial part of my job. This is strategy analysis, because it's mostly pre-sales and discovery phases. So you still do, and as Rustam mentioned, you still do a lot of like drawings, process modeling, you do data flow modeling, and you do even like decision tree, creating different mind maps, actually, when you try to understand the domain or problem, actually problem solving, problem definition. All these skills, actually, they support me with existing role. And I believe it's really crucial for every like position, not only for BA or for project manager, for any like business related activities, anyway you do these BA activities. And I faced with a lot of people who does not know anything about like BA BOK, but they do all these activities from BA BOK, and they do partially like BA activities.
Sure. Yeah, that's why, like you mentioned it from the BA BOK, that the business analyst is someone who's doing business analysis independent of their title, or even if they're like knowing how to call that. And I think a lot of us can relate to that we were like doing some business analysis activities prior, knowing that it was actually called business analysis.
Yes.
All right. So moving on. No additional questions in the Zoom chat. Oh, I think we have something. Yeah, there is just one. Was there something that you didn't like in BA position, some activities, situations? Oh, that's a good one from Mariana. Controversial.
I have one, and this is a request. This is my manifesto. Please do not say illicit requirements. You're building solutions. You're collaborating with business. There are plenty of vocabulary, brilliant words for that. What is the hell the eliciting requirements? You're asking and noting, making notes? No. So I put my life.
There is a lot of elicitation in BABOK.
Yeah, I know. Activities. But in terms of communicating, it changes the perspective. These are not only words. You are building solutions. You need to think about that like this. And you will notice how soon this would transfer the activity itself. This is not a note taker. This is a thinker. And I really love to think about that in this way.
100% agree.
Great advice. What I also hated was gathering requirements. I think it was even like worse than, yeah. It's like they're like lying around and all you need to do is just...
and making notes. Like you are gay, so make notes. I hated this perception, like it, and we still have this internally, unfortunately, because when you work with delivery units, they also expect, so you BA, do notes, fuck off.
Rustam, anything you want to add?
I think I don't like user stories for some reason. I don't know why. So
you want to talk about that?
Makes me crazy about understanding what needs to be done. So this thing makes everyone too low level, I think. It says what to do and why you need to do that. And sometimes people are just not putting why we need to do that. And yeah, this is a mix between the solution and requirement, and that's why I don't like it. It's too low level, and I want to go from top to bottom. Maybe that's why I just can't work just with user stories. Maybe not just stand corrected there, but yeah, I need in between. And when people are just talking backlogs and user stories, I think they are missing too much just working with user stories.
Do you have BAs under your command right now? Do you allow them to use user stories?
We're still getting one. Usually I work with the COE, so a lot of the pre-sales right now. Yeah, I still prefer something in the between, like use case or maybe some functional things. But yeah, eventually it goes to the user story. It's the process, and that's why I hate the BA processes. So eventually you end up with the user stories. So when the describe role takes place, when people think that now we just told you what to write and this you need to do, and this is why you need to do that, and you don't have any choice, any understanding why that decision was made.
Got it. Good point. Anything to add, guys, or shall we move on?
Let's move on.
And what's about you, Kirill?
Well, I love every single thing about business analysis. Come on. Okay, so we have a little chat in the chat on how you can actually replace eliciting requirements. So guys, feel free to add your options there. Maybe we can like run some research on the side. So let's move on. This one is quite interesting for the audience, I believe. Have you taken any courses, studies, or tried mentorship to grow in a new role? Any recommendations? So what did you have to like study to learn while transforming into those new interesting roles?
For me, it was diving into enterprise architecture. And you know that I studied Zachman framework. Also, I tried to get into TOGAF framework. And in general, as I already mentioned, I had a lot of like, it's not mentorship, but it was like interviews and asking for advice with our top architects. Actually, they helped me with technical like approaches and so on.
Were they collaborative? Like,
yeah,
were they happy?
yeah, because we were in one group. we were in solutions, and we had their architects and BAs, so we collaborated with them, and I know them well, so it's not a problem.
Because sometimes what I hear from like colleagues of mine that they're like a bit of shy maybe of asking those technical questions from the architects or from like lead developers, that they may think that this is something that they're not supposed to talk about. So I was just wondering how those guys like you know, reacted to those questions.
They were not so stupid, you know. it was really like detailed questions with why actually you go with this framework here, and what are the activities, what do you expect actually from different team members during different initiatives, actually what do you expect, and how you see this approaches. It was more like about approaches, how to proceed, what are the deliverables, how you do it, and what are the templates, and so on.
And about the enterprise architecture frameworks, would you like comment on that or advice on that? Because a lot of business analysts like have a perception of this as something very complicated.
You know, it's everything about models. You still need to model enterprise somehow, and it's not enough just to model as this state. You need to support it. You need to it's actually, in some enterprises, I faced with a position called actually enterprise architect, and they use different models actually to model as this state, and they support to be state. It's like live modeling, and when they add like new assets or new like hardware or new piece of code, first of all, they analyze, do we already have something in place? If you don't have it, as a result, you have in your enterprise all the zoo with different systems, and they support like pieces of functionality, pieces of processes, and there are a lot of intersections between different applications, and as a result you have the zoo, and it's hard to maintain it, and it's a lot of cost, supporting cost, and you grow IT department actually to support all these applications. So yeah, it's about modeling, you know, it's about understanding, and there are different models, and Zachman framework covers like this 6 levels, and you have in TOGAF different like also models, and yeah, but I would say agree with you that it's okay and it's good for you to know it, but it's hard to actually to apply it when especially in outsourced model. When you enterprise architect inside the enterprise, it's I would say it's even expected from you to have this model, to understand what do you have, what is the zoo, what actually assets you have at the moment, and before buying something or implementing something, you need to understand what you already have in place.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So let's hear something from Andrei. Andrei, what about you?
Any courses? Okay, so I can't name specific courses now, because at the time it was like, so learning is ongoing process, and I was trying to tap into Udemy courses that I could find on sales. I had 2 of them. I don't remember the titles, but I can find if someone is really particularly interested in those. I also try to understand people interactions, and there is also a course on Coursera regarding how people interact. Lots of TED Talks that I've listened to, and I can recognize course from Harvard University that I took online, dispute mitigation. This was really helpful and really fundamental in order for me to feel more comfortable when we negotiate or talking with the client or their procurement guys. And also Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. That was the book, and also he has a masterclass on masterclass.com. That was also a huge help in order to understand how people communicate and that we have different bias. And when we approach negotiation, it has like different rabbit holes that we can actually tap into. So that was a quick overview of my learning materials.
Wow, you were prepared. All right, so let's hear something from Rustam.
First question, I think no, I never taken any courses, studies, or tried mentorship. So that wasn't too official, I think. I had a mentor that was my manager, but that was unofficial thing, maybe not like just order the mentor and going through the program or whatever. As of the courses, I skipped every course because I hadn't had a chance to take them. I just switched too quick to understand what happened. Any recommendations? Yes, absolutely. If you have time, we have a lot of the courses for project managers, delivery leaders. I'm trying to enroll the director's program right now, but they never had a chance to get the right amount of people there. But we definitely have a lot of opportunities to get to the courses, get to the online things, that get to the books. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. Just ping me and I will share everything, just starting your career from project manager till maybe just a vice president of delivery. We have everything to make you grow in this direction.
Yeah, we have had already several requests in chat to share the recommendations. So I guess we will have to assemble a huge list of recommendations from all of you guys and send them with a follow-up letter to our audience. Yep. All right, so Nastya, anything to add?
I'm just laughing from Igor's comment, at least not to hate it. Well, the question before that, before we jump into this interesting discussion about selling, I'd be a holder of unpopular opinion that you don't always need a fancy certificate to succeed somewhere. There are a lot, and I, to be honest, have one. To be like super honest, I've learned from that, but this is not driven me on whom I become. So if you want really to learn new competency, find the person, the role model, whomever who succeeded in that, and attentively look at those actions. It's better not be one person, not to stick to one pattern, but a lot of persons. So I was looking for a lot of different successful product managers outside of organization or inside. And I was just looking for their speeches, what they are like manifesting in their work. I mean, all possible from the public sources where you can like look at that. I also have this pragmatic marketing certification, but that brought me some new ways of thinking, but this is not like defining who am I and how do I move. This is like the most important probably lesson that you think on where is the best applicability of your skills, or where you gain ones you need, like in selling, in communication, in leadership, in driven the initiative, in project management, whatever. Find those superheroes who succeeded and attentively look at that, how they think, how they speak, what do they do if it is possible.
Wow, great point. Thank you. So let's address this question you had a laugh about earlier from Igor. So he's asking, he's saying most of your roles now require advanced selling skills. Do you guys enjoy selling? What is the best way to learn how to sell, or at least not to hate it?
I had quick answer on that. My first thought was, do not sell something directly, like do not sell a silver bullet. Like for a long time, we just knew that we are selling one specific service, and this like stops you from thinking about any other offering. So if you have a bunch of pens, you're going and selling the bunch of pens. No one needs that. You need to listen to your client first, and then you adjust your pitch. You're not selling like directly this, oh, well, you just need the pen. So you hear it everywhere because this is the only thing you can offer. This doesn't work this way. You need to attentively listen to your client. Don't think you're smarter. Maybe you are, but you need to somehow build your pitch based on what they need. So first you listen, probably this one.
And we're selling already. So everybody is in sales. If you talk to your customer on your daily meetings, when you actually explain what you've done, when you do demo sessions, and when you talk about delivered outcomes and delivered work, you're selling already, because based on that, based on your experience, tone, and the way you did something, client will judge if he or she or they want to continue working with you, and what other features will be in priority for the next release. And this is like, maybe it's because I hated selling, and this is something because I thought that selling is, you know, in my hometown, na Bazari, it's like, take this, it's very good, and like kind of that style of selling, and I hate that. And this is something that's when you have an incoming call, you pick it up, and there is some person that's offering you a free insurance or something like that, you just hang up immediately. And that's what I thought selling was all about. And now when I'm like more into it, like 4 years by now, I see selling from a different angle, from a different perspective, and I stopped hating it. So I was hating it at first. Now I don't, I'm not a professional seller, because otherwise I would switch to sales guys. But this is something that helped a lot to change my perspective and helps me in day-to-day basis, because I work with clients. And if I'm responsible for growing my account, then I should somehow help them understand our capabilities, or in other words, to sell our services.
Great point. Thank you, Andrei. So I see a comment from Mitro that he had some experience working closely with sales guys. Mitro, anything you learned from those London sales guys?
Yeah, for sure. It was really, I would say, different experience, because when you work closely on as the earliest stage, it's like when you have even cold lead sometime, and you have meeting with a customer, like potential customer, you have this on-site meeting, and you even need to be like well dressed, like in casual business, smart casuals, and you need to also, because when you work with sales guys, they mostly sell, they try to build these relationships, and your role as a BA, it was mostly like to help to understand the need. It was assistance in understanding the real need, and the ability actually to propose based on need of customer need, to propose what we have here at SoftServe and how we can approach. So it was, I would say, really crucial piece of expertise that I gained actually, and it was really new for me, because you are selling in another country with specific of the customer, with specific of this people. There first of all, they like have this all small talks, all this football, rugby activities, and only after that you actually talk about their potential like problems and how we can help them with these problems. So yeah, it was useful, and I recommend, if you have such a possibility to work closely with account executive or with client partners, it helps and it develops the skills of consulting skills and selling, as Andrei mentioned, not like na Bazari, but selling, it's smart selling, and actually identifying needs and helping your customer to understand how you can help, what work you can do for him or for her, yeah, for this person, and you identify how you can help this person, not like sell something that this person is not actually expected from you, and they don't need this thing. So yeah, it's useful.
Right.
This is a great moment also to highlight your analytical skills. When you understand this is kind of a selling process of anything to anyone, you need to understand there are always more than one stakeholder. It is always like that, and they might have different interest in that. Your delivery, your salesman, your team, at least, and in the client side, there also might be different like interests in what you are selling to them. And the thing is like to talk about that internally, what's the strategy? This is what Dima mentioned. This is what I believe Andrew is doing all the time when they are selling. You align the strategy when you sell something to the client. You're not pitching whatever different ideas in different directions, and your client is sitting like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Like I have 14 offers from different directions. And every person is selling in the process.
Great point. Yeah, great point. Rustam, anything to add to that?
Sure. So do I like selling? No, I don't like it. I don't like it. And the reason, because it's not so obvious that if I'm selling what I know exactly what I'm saying, and that feels good, I guess, when I'm do that. But when I'm trying to sell something that I don't understand completely, that makes me uncomfortable. And this is why I have the bigger team as client executive, client partner, and account executive. These guys are frontmen of the selling process, and at a different level, I mean, and these are the main guys where you can learn how to sell. So if you have the chance to work with those guys, you will see how the pre-sales works, how sales working, and how after sales is working. So this is the best way to understand how it's the mechanism of the selling. And the most important, I guess, what Andrei and everyone said, that you have to have this mindset that everything is sell at your project. And yeah, you can start with what you know. This is the easy sell, I think. You can easily sell what you understand and see the value and can show the value from it. But to learn how to sell like anything, you have to work with our special ops team. I mean, sales.
Yeah, another BA technique, observation. Yeah, observe and learn from the best. Yeah, yep. Great point. All right, let's move on. We have another question here on our deck. So, what do you miss the most, maybe, from being a business analyst? Anything, guys, that you miss?
I miss having one project that be responsible for a specific set of responsibilities. Because now feel like I'm all over the place, and sometimes it's really a challenge. Or as a business analyst, I also saw my results of my work immediately. I knew that the team was benefiting from that. And then as a product manager, I saw that end users were really happy to have this product in place, or that feature delivered. So I saw my fruits of my job almost like immediately, or in 2 weeks. And now I'm all over the place. I do a lot of activities and different nature of work, but the result can be sometimes in a year or half a year. For example, if you negotiate rates, it can take up to 9 months. If you meet and greet some new stakeholder, then in a year from that meeting, they can pop up and say, hey, do you have a DevOps expertise over there? And this is something that I don't have this, understanding that what I'm doing is valuable, or I can see benefits right away. So this is what I miss from business analysts, is like a single project and have some space for myself.
Okay, got it.
I'm thinking to myself that since I become the business analyst, I had a feeling or expectation, wow, when I will decompose, analyze, draw the diagram, then I'll have clarity. Never happened afterwards. So I just missed that dream. I soon understood there would not be clarity. You just learn how to survive in that uncertainty, in that dynamic changes, in that more than one project when you're like jonglering with like burning fires, whatever. You just learn to live in that. I just missed that childhood dream that I'll soon, some moment, will have that clarity. No way.
Dima, you wanted to say
I
something?
just wanted to like what I miss really, it's close collaboration with dev team, because it's like, you know, like team spirit. I even say I miss this team spirit when you work on some, like as Andrei mentioned, you have one project, you have one solution, and it's stable environment for you, and you know what to expect from other teammates. They know what to expect from you. It's stable environment. Sometimes you miss it because when you have 1,000 pre-sales plus services plus all this like managerial activities, sometimes you miss like this place when you can just have a stable environment also.
Okay, and Rustam?
And I think miss my time to think. So the more hired you are, you're just spending seconds to take a decision. And analysts can take days or weeks for digging into details and thinking how it's working. And I don't have such thing anymore. So the more hired you are, you have less time to take a decision, and that decision could be positive or negative, but you have to deal with it afterwards. So I think that's the most thing I miss, just more time.
So the takeaway from that for the audience, business analyst, if you think you're busy now, it gets worse, yeah? It can get much worse. So appreciate where you are right now.
It's like a Stockholm syndrome. You just can't stop. You're holding more and more responsibility.
All right, so let's move on. We have not too many questions left. So guys in the audience, feel free to add your questions to the chat. If you were thinking maybe that you may like duplicate one of the questions here, don't worry. If you do, we just will skip over your question. So don't worry about that. So let's move on to the next one. So we have a situation here that maybe you can help the one who put this question in resolve. I'm a BA and want to change career direction, but don't know which way to go. What advice would you give me?
Have some rest. Have a break first, because if you don't know which direction to go, but you have a strong desire to change your career, then no one can advise you which way to take, because they're not you and they won't guess what works best for you. And if you have still this need that you want to change a career direction, because this is a great change in life, then maybe just have some rest and listen to yourself, and you will know what actually comes to you and what you like. Maybe you just need to change the team, not the career itself. This is my first insight that I got just reading this question.
So root cause analysis, another technique.
Yeah, 5 whys.
Agree 100%. This is a great signal that something at some point, I'd not say went wrong, but this is a flag for you to stop and think first. And next, probably after that, to listen to yourself, to retrospect your experience, what you're good at. You have great organizational skills. You are a great communicator. You are like rather the analytical mind who want to dive deep into the data, or you want to create even the visual part of those solutions you're dealing with. So think about your strong sides or those sides which you want to develop in yourself. So the best success stories are in terms of where you're good at. What is your specific passion in those?
I would answer as a BA. So first of all, define potential solutions for you, and then
SWOT analysis, of course.
Yeah, benchmark analysis, all these activities, and then when you define this direction, you can create comparison metrics with weighted coefficients actually, and you can define what is the best for you. Maybe data-oriented product management, it's for you, or maybe you want to be as an Andrei like client partner and work closely with the customer.
Yeah, good advice. Actually, you can use this benchmarking or competitor analysis for a lot of things in your life, like picking a hotel or a destination for your vacation or an apartment. Yeah, good technique that also helps you out. All right, Rustam, anything to add?
I'm only thinking about just trying. So if you have time, you can just try and say yes to everything and try. But don't forget to give it back to the weekly report to the project manager or testing to the tester or whatever the task you will trying. Just spend some time and you will notice that you like it or not. Just try to code in Java. I need it. So try it with the management, try it with QAing, demoing, everything. And yeah, just play yes man for a week, and that will give you the options for the analysis.
And if you feel exhausted, have some rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Afterwards.
then take your rest. Yeah.
Yeah, great advices. So saying yes to certain situations can get you in very strange places sometimes. I know that from my experience as well. All right, so let's move on. I think this we have that was just some chatter. So another situation, and I think this is almost the last question, guys. So that's like your final call for the guys in the audience to add your questions in the Zoom chat. So we have another situation. You are a senior BA on the project and your PM is junior. How to build good relations, keeping in mind that he's your direct manager? Oh, that's an interesting one. What do you think about that, guys?
Can I start here?
Sure.
It's not clear. Is it outsource or is it like what is your?
That's all I have. That's all I have. Let's make an assumption.
Let me add a few assumptions. Like you are BA in proxy product owner role, and you work for SoftServe, and you have project manager from SoftServe. So in this case, it's not your direct manager because you work for your customer. You work for your product owner. And to build a relationship, you just need to create some racing metrics, collaboration plan, and actually to understand who do what in this situation. Because project for SoftServe and project that actually implements this solution, it's two different projects. And you need to understand that your direct manager, it's someone actually who builds this solution. And you work as a proxy product owner. So your product owner is your direct manager. It's how I see the situation.
Okay.
I had a lot of kind of situations where this discussion, or immediately after being pronounced like that, jumped into the personalities. And this is kind of a discussion you normally don't want to have on a project or product or solution. You are already in one boat, and you're the person and the role who is advocating the solution, advocating the success. And when you're speaking from, in other terms, advocating the success, you probably would be two people who are competing in who is more contributing to the success, and you would be having another kind of a discussion. You speak about the value, you speak about the benefit for the project, and this brings out the personality, but brings in the common ground and the value. And there are always not only project managers. I believe there are a lot of like account management, delivery directors who are also interested in success. It's not in terms of escalation points or hierarchy. I'm not speaking about that. But those are people who are extremely interested in this project to succeed. And you are at this point in the same boat. So find the point where you are at the common ground with a common goal and start the discussion from there. Maybe it helps.
Wow, good, great answer. Anything to add, guys?
So this situation lacks lacks background information or lacks context, I would say, because I would not fixate on levels. There is nothing wrong for a senior business analyst to have a junior project manager as a direct manager. You have different areas of responsibility, and there is nothing wrong with that. If there is something specific that bothers you, like professionalism of the project management, or if project manager communicate something in a way that you think is way off, then please specify it and we'll find a way to tackle. We can also talk about that offline. I have no problem with that. But if you're concerned, or the person who wrote this, if you're concerned only about the reporting to more junior personnel, then I feel sorry for you, because there is no problem at all.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So I've been in such a situation, and honestly, I've been in the opposite situations, and the roles doesn't matter every time. So every time it's just a role, it's just a decision of the person to do the career path or not. But in terms of the good relations, it could be working relationship, it could be just people relationship. If you can combine that one, I think it starts with the expectations. When you set the expectation, that will be good, because if you don't know what to expect from your direct associates or your boss, then where the issues can come up. So if you know what you're responsible for and what are the expectations, nothing will change your role and even the knowledge. You can learn from each other, and help each other and grow at the same time, but it's never about the roles.
Yeah. Wow. So such great points, guys. I'm really happy we are having this talk, and we're really happy we set it up. So you guys are doing great. So we have the last question, and maybe you already promised to answer that in the follow-up. So any books or other sources that you like to recommend? Maybe we already promised to have this list in the follow-up letter, but maybe some book or some, I don't know, source that you want to bring up and advise to our audience, and maybe combine it to the final words or final message for this session.
I did that on the chat because I was answering the previous question, was kind of similar of our mentorships and resources for study.
I had a thought also, if you will think about the resources which everyone can access, like BA book, like some courses which are public, think about your market differentiator. I'm now talking as a product manager. There are things whom no one teaching that. No one teaching the proper communication, the practical presentation skills. There are some courses on that, but think about this unfair advantage you can have. Maybe you are a great in pitching or in making people collaborate, facilitating negotiations. Develop that by practicing, by not think directly. Everyone out of 100 people, 99 would decide and go read Babok. Decide and go read something else. You will learn Babok on the way. Think about something which brings you as a different person. Thinking about that.
I have put Babok in the chat. Anything to add, Dima?
Posted Babok, yep, it's like a holy book. But again, it's not only about Babok for sure. And I would say that experience, and as Rustam mentioned, just say yes and take some responsibility, try something new, and then you will grow. And when you will actually do something new, and if you see that there are something that you don't know, and as a BA, you will analyze the situation, and then you will find sources and resources. Actually, at the moment, a lot of courses, Udemy, Coursera, and you can ask your colleagues. You have a really cool BA community. You can ask your architects. You can ask product manager. It's more, my point here is that even if you read something and you are not ready and you don't know why you read it, actually, it won't help you. But when you understand the problem, when you define the problem, there are a lot of different solutions, and you can always, like, from my perspective, because I love actually BA-BOK, and you can always find answers also in this book, because it's a really cool framework based on experience of thousands BAs during different, like, from different locations, from different experiences and so on. So BA-BOK, but also what would I recommend from my experience, it's what changed my mind a bit about enterprises. It was the engineering the corporation. It's Hammer and someone else. Actually, it's about enterprise. It's about understanding the problems of enterprises and how to invest actually in different internal projects or internal improvements. It's a really cool one. And also product management. I like how will you measure your life. It was in Ukrainian, and it was translated in Lviv, and I just was presented on some presentation. And it's really about product management. It's about what work any product do for you, and how to sell products, and how to create value propositions. So it's also interesting. I will follow up it here in our chat also.
Yeah, and please also in our common chat where we prepared for the session, so we could all ship it to our listeners in the follow-up letter. Rustam, you wanna?
Well, I will recommend to read any book. So any book that makes you happy and comfortable, because as you can just hear from our suggestions, everyone on different stages recommending the things that makes them happy and comfortable. And those are from different domains, even different areas. You can read some inspirational books. You can dig into the some process managed books. You can go to the standards books, but you will not feel the need to read those before you are ready to read those books. So if you are not ready to read BA-BOK, don't read it. Just wait, gather your experience, read some inspirational books, read some hands-on things like how to do something. There are some special sections at BA-BOK too, but still. And when you're ready, you can just jump onto something more processed and just step-by-step standardized thing. Just read everything. Just take the opportunity to read even the literature, even the comics, whatever makes you happy. And this will all extend your imagination and thinking ahead. Just use opportunity to get more knowledge. And when you're ready, you just build it on top of the framework or whatever system you will pick. Is it going to be management? Is it going to be a product management? Whatever. It all helps.
Right. Thank you. We also had some recommendation from our audience in the chat, so we can look into that. So we're out of questions and out of time, actually. So it's time to wrap this up. Thanks a lot, guys. That was really great session. I'm really happy we did that. Like I said, I learned a lot from you, and I hope the audience as well. So thanks a lot for participating. It was fun. It was interesting. So thank you.
I hope we did not encourage you in any of our words to immediately go change your position, but rather to appreciate where you are right now and the experience you're gaining, because you don't know what life brings next and what challenges you will tackle them. So.
Sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Say bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.